Thought I'd do a basic live today, or just a short one about basic molding. Um, I am the moderator of a mold making group, and a lot of people ask questions about how do I mold this, how do I mold that object, that type of thing. And I try to verbally tell them how to do it, and it doesn't seem to always come across the way it's intended. In other words, if I tell them do step A, B, and C, and it seems to confuse them more. So I thought maybe I'd do a visual for them. Um, Basically, I take anything that I can find. In my shop, I've got boxes, I've got old coffee cans, I've got old ice cream containers. I've got, these cups that you get smooth on, the measuring cups. For instance, this is one of the Jaws barrels I produced for Shark City Ozarks, right? So I need to make another mold of one of these. So all I do is I find a cup like so that is the same size. Now this barrel is heavy, so it's not going to float. But if you have a lightweight object, you want to super glue it or adhere it to the bottom of the cup. And then you want to mold it. Now I'm going to set that aside. I've got another one here that I'm working on, the tail for sculpting this back here. And this is a Burger King cup. And as you can see, the end piece is a wire, and there is a tail in there. Okay, all I do is just cut the end piece, thread the wire through, and then super glue the back right here so none of the silicone leaks out. And then making sure that the tail is in the correct position to be able to be poured. I want it centered like so. That way I have equal amounts of silicone all the way around. Okay. Then I have a box right here that I'm doing for my own personal one. This is a jaw for the custom designed T-Rex that I've been trying to mold for several years. And I've got a box, and I've just adhered that to the bottom of the box and pour silicone in there and make a mold. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why don't you do a clay up and do two-part and all that stuff? When you're doing solid resin molds, sometimes it's easier to have a one-piece mold for everything, like the three things that I'm going to mold right now. And to show you, I take a large cup or bucket. I'll use one of these. I got a clean bucket from Smooth On. I'm not endorsing Smooth On products. I use a variety of silicone products. I've got this, which is from Amazon. It's called BB Dino. And that is what these molds are made from. And basically, this is a 1-to-1 mold ratio. And what I'm going to do is just mix a large batch and pour and make up 3 molds with one batch. Okay, now this is a 1-to-1 ratio, so you want to pick a number on the side here of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Now this is going to be a fairly large batch for molding. So what I'm going to do, and I start off with these, I won't pour the entire thing on these. I'll start out with a little bit in the bottom, because this piece here, I don't want to super glue it down because it'll destroy the cup. I mean, I could just go buy a new cup, but if you can't afford or you don't have the resources to do that, you can use any cup, plastic cup, that type of thing. But for that particular one, I will show you what I'll do. We'll open up a fresh thing of silicone here. And this is BB Dino, part A, and then the blue bottle is part B. Okay? So what we'll do is I'll just show you how easy and effective it is. You got your measuring cup here. You pick out what you're going to measure out. And you got about 30 minutes for this stuff. So you got to be quick on some of it. I'm going to find, I need a knife to get this. And just pop the seal on that. Open it up. And that in the garbage right there. There you go. Make sure you got all your sealing off. Okay, now I'll start out in this particular one. You don't have to pre-mix any color. So let's say we want to go, our total is going to be 28 ounces, okay? So you got 28 ounces as your goal. So you want to split that in two. You want to do 16 ounces of A, 16 ounces of B. Well, I'm sorry, 32. My bad. I said 32. Sick of 28. 32. So half of 32 is 16 and 16. So you just pour the A in there. So you hit 16 or 20 or whatever it is the goal is. I'm going a little bit over on this. So, pour some back. You can either pour some back or continue. I'm just going to continue. Because I need to do a lot of this mold in particular here needs a large amount to finish it off. Okay, so I've got a grand total of 24 ounces right there. Okay, 24 ounces. So I need to mix another 24 ounces, which is going to make it 48 total. Okay, that's 28 right on the nose. You just take the B. And you put the cup aside. And you got to open the little thing. And I got to find my knife again. And just take the cap off. Very easy. Get rid of that. Get you a clean stir stick. You use a paint stick right here. Clean paint stick. Now you want to measure out 24 more ounces, which is 48. So you want it to come right up here to this 48 line. And just pour that until it's 48. Boom, right there on the nose. 48. Take that out. Okay. Take a stir stick. Stir it up. You got 30 minutes working time with this. Alright. So just stir it up. You can stir it as long as you want, but usually 4 minutes or so is good. I mean, you don't have to over stir it. Just make sure it gets stirred all the way through. Alright. Now I'm going to start out with this one here. I'm going to put this, let me put this over here. Let me bring you guys over here. Because I can put this down on a stable setting right here on the table. I'm working on another big one here. This is a fiberglass mold here. We're going to do a stable table setting here so you guys can see this. Okay. Lower this down a little bit. Drop that down so you can get, there we go. Right there. Okay, so I've got my two cups here. And I want this to be on a stable flat surface. So I'm just going to do this, right, move this over here. from all kinds of, this is the tail with the tail in it. And I've got that. So I'm just going to set that down right here. And I'm going to pour a little bit of this in there just to coat the bottom. Now what that does is that will allow that to set and firm up without the risk of it leaking out and wasting all the silicone. Okay? Same thing for this little one here. I can do that because if I don't have it secured, I can just take a little bit of this, pour it in here, coat the bottom. Okay? And then you set this down where it's going to be stable and it doesn't move. Doesn't slide around, doesn't slip, doesn't do anything. That way it can stay in position and cure. Then, go back over here to the big box. And because all of this silicone needs to go in here and completely cover this thing right here. So then I just take the remainder of the silicone and pour it in the box. And depending on how much you use is how well it's going to cover or not cover. I'm going to have to use more. But I've got a fairly large box for this. I could have done a different type of molding for this. But it's a complex mold. It's a complex piece. In other words, there's teeth and all that. So it's a large jaw, and I have to mold it. So I just take a box, adhere it to the box, secure the inside corners where none of the silicone leaks out, and then just pour it. Like I said, you can use anything. I've got a whole thing over here. You use Tupperware containers like this for deep set objects that you want to do. These are already ready to, you don't have to do anything more than to secure it to the bottom. With small flat objects, I use the top and bottoms of cake tins. It'll have indentions and stuff like that in it, but that won't matter as long as your subject is in there and you pour it in there and it's not any higher than the outside edges of the mold. You can use this. Let's say, for example, I don't know. Say you want to mold something that's round, circular, okay? If it fits in here, you can use it. That's probably not a good one. Okay, let's say this is a dog nose, right? This is a little dog nose that was done in clay, and this is urethane copy. Okay, and you have something, a small object like this. Just find something small that it will fit in. You can use a cup. I've got a screw in there. You can put that in the bottom of a cup, and you can mold it like this. However you want to do it, whatever object you've got. The thing is just to make sure that when you have an object you want to mold, make sure that it has a little bit of a circumference around the outside of the object to mold it. That's why it's good to find little cups and stuff to find. You can use things. Here's a good one. There's a cup right here. Just a standard. You can put the object down in the bottom like that. Secure it to the bottom of the cup. And then just pour silicone over the top of it until you cover the object. And then when you're done, you can either, if the cup is something you can live without, you can just cut the cup, take the mold out, remove the object. You know, it's not rocket science. It doesn't have to be difficult. Um, like I said, any and all household objects can be used. I've got a bunch of old lasagna pan, cleaned out, and I just use this, you know, put something in there that's fairly large that fits and needs to be molded, flat object, and just pour silicone in it. Reused. I mean, you can recycle. Here, look at here. Here's one I used for the nose molds. This is an old sour cream dip cup. Put the nose in there, secure it to the bottom. Once you get it secured, mold it. You got all that around there. That's kind of so you pour whatever it is in there and just mold it. You can use anything. It doesn't have to be a special object that you can do, you know, a special mold cup or anything like that. I used to stress over making molds. And the old boxes I get the BBDino in, I save because they're already done up. They make a perfect mold box. All you do is put your object in there, secure it, pour the silicone. It doesn't leak out because of all the tape on the back and the bottom. And then take it out, or you can use it, you know, to ship stuff in. It's just very basic, very simple. It's the only thing is to have an object, like say this is the head of the thing dog from that sculpting over there. I put this in a bucket and use this. Here's an example. I took a standard bucket, put that head in there, and poured silicone in there. Now the only thing I am do is cut it 3 ways and pull it out. And the reason I do that was because the materials that this was sculpted in not only had the clay and the eyes, but it also had like foil and wire and other objects, because the artist who made this sculpted it over a form he also made with other material, like foam or foil or anything like that. So all I did was take that, we had to cut it off the head, put it in the box sitting up like this, and poured a mold over the whole thing on the same stuff as BBDino. It made the entire thing. Then I was able to flip the mold up, cut it 3 ways, pull it out, get all the stuff out, but I could not mold the head the way I wanted to because it's a solid head. So I melted clay down and poured that in there into the mold so I could remake the head and then turn around and cut it, because it's a very difficult mold to do. But you can pull that out, then I could cut it in half, lay it in a box, do the top part, make sure all the details get done. And then that way when we put it together, it's a 2-part piece that goes together like a jigsaw puzzle. Much like this dinosaur that I'm doing. It's going to go together like a jigsaw puzzle. You know, the lower jaw, I've got the upper jaw in a mold right here. There's another piece right here that's been box molded. And all I got to do is just pull that out. You know, cut it down the sides, pull that piece out, and there you go. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So far as molding things, it's very easy. Just use common household items for mold stuff. It's not that difficult. It doesn't take a whole lot to do it. The only thing you have to invest in is the silicone. Everything else you can get from around your house. Boxes, bowls, cups, coffee cans. There's a number of containers. I mean, you can use coconut oil containers. Run it through the dishwasher. Put something in there. Pour silicone, adhere it to it, pour silicone in it, mold it. You might destroy this by the time you're done cutting the thing out, but there you go. These are my favorites to do. Recycle these because I eat, dips and chips. Just take that and then pour it in there. I can take a barrel. The barrel will be big enough. Put the barrel in there, but the barrel comes over the top of the mold. So, just put that in there, just pour silicone in it. Makes a mold. So it's just basic. Now, see, I've got smaller barrels that I do. I could put those in here and make a small barrel mold because it's not bigger than the mold itself. Just put it in there, glue it down, pour mold, pour it. Put 2 or 3 in there, just whatever object you got to mold up. Use your imagination and what you got laying around the house. And that's it. That's all it takes. So there we go. Just common household items that you can use for basic mold making. All these things that I do, like these are cups and the barrel molds, the large barrels. And there's a big mold for even the bigger molds, for the bigger barrels. But like I said, you can do anything and everything. Boxes, cups, you name it. It's not rocket science. It doesn't take a whole lot. But I noticed that the people in the group are always asking, oh, how do I do this? Well, and everybody's, doesn't want to say how they're doing it because they think it's some kind of big secret. The one thing that I will tell you that is good to have on hand when you are making molds is a spray release of some kind. I use 2 different kinds. One, this is a generic all-around mold release, Man's 200. Then for silicone objects, if I do urethane rubber or if I'm doing a silicone mold and I want to make a 2-part mold, some people will clay it up. I just spray release, use seal pack. Pour like half in there. Then when it gets molded and it's firm, I spray a thing down there and then I'll pour another. I'll put, pour another layer in there and fill it and make a 2-part mold with seal pack release or mold release, either one. So if you want to do a 2-part mold, you can do a clay mold up where you can do that and you put all the little indentions and everything in there. But some people don't have time or resources for that. So you can use mold release to do that with. So it's not, like I said, it's not all rocket science and superior. I've got here's a mold for the tongue for this dog that was molded in a cup. And I just cut it down the side. I take rubber bands, put it around it. I'll take like a rubber band right here. Got these rubber bands from Amazon. They're cheap. Just take a rubber band, put it around here like this. Sometimes you have to double it. Holds the mold together. You pour your resin in there. Boom. That's it. Then you wait for it to cure. You take the rubber band off. You demold it. Pull your part out. Here's another one example. These are the teeth for the dog. I took a piece of, glued these teeth down on a little piece of, like a little dish, like one of those dishes that I have. A little plastic dish, glued all the teeth in there, poured the resin, or poured the silicone. It made the mold. Then I go back in and pour the resin into the mold, and it makes the teeth. I keep them in here so I don't lose them. But all it does is you just pour the resin in there and make the teeth. I mean, it's simple, it's efficient, it doesn't take much to do. Anybody can do it. It's just investing a little bit of money in the material that you're wanting to make, whatever it is you're making from. So, I've got like one tooth here that I didn't take out. Pop that up. And this is really flexible. This is testament to how good this silicone is. And this is affordable off Amazon. It's like $99. You know. I didn't fully mold this tooth, so I'm going to pull it out. But let me put these other ones in here to make sure. And see, this is really flexible. I can get just pop this up, and it comes right out. So, you know, it's called BB Dino from Amazon. Now, I'm not trying to push a endorsement for the product, but I see a lot of people wondering what to buy. What to buy. This is probably one of the most affordable and basic. It's smaller than I like, but it's one of the most affordable and basic silicones that you can buy from Amazon. So there we go. I mean, I've got tons of stuff that I use. And I use the Smooth Cast 65D from Reynolds, from Smooth On, you know, that type of thing. Then I've got silicone that I use, which is a brushable. It's called Mold Stroke. That's one you can use for large objects like this. So I've got these legs to mold, but I've got to melt down some clay and put it over the top of because there's wire and aluminum foil in here. And I don't want to take that out, but I need to mold the legs. So what I do is just take some clay, put it over the top. Now I'll take a paintbrush and brush brushable silicone on there and mold these legs. I've got 3 of them to do. And mold those up and then make that. Then do a plaster wrap around that, 2-part plaster wrap. Because that way, when I want to take it apart, I can pour resin inside the sleeve of this and make this a single solid one-piece object. But you have to do prep work to make sure that you don't get silicone hung up on stuff on the inside. So there we go with that. So that's basically it. It's just a simple, easy to do, quick little tutorial for some of the guys in the mold making group on how to make basic molds using household objects, whether it be a box, you know, a bowl, whatever it is. The thing is just to have the object be able to be placed in whatever it is you're using, and then do that. Okay? So I appreciate your attention and time for that. I got stuff I gotta get done, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get back to it. But there's something, maybe I'll take a little bit of time out of that and do a little mold instruction video for the people in the group. That way they would, maybe if they see it and visualize what to do and how to do it, it'd be easier for them. Okay? I appreciate it. We will see you guys on the next one.